Joining us on the show once again today is a man I can proudly call a returning champion to this podcast. Of course, you all know him best as a two-time national championship winning head coach for the University of Virginia men's tennis team. Welcome back onto our show, Coach Andreas Pedroso. Coach, it is always good to see your smiling face. Welcome back to the program. How are you and the Who's feeling with the Sweet 16 ahead?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on, Alex. Excited for another Sweet 16 in Charlottesville.
No, it is always fun to be competing this late into May, certainly. And look, 22 and 7 overall on the year. Obviously, it's a very young team. I want to get right into it with you because I pride myself as a historian for all things college tennis, Virginia men's tennis in particular, happened to be the specialty. 2014 with the Ty, JC, etc. freshman class, 2021 with the Iñaki, Chris, Jeffrey, Alex freshman class. Any similarities with this freshman-filled team in those two seasons?
Yeah, a lot of similarities. Um, Great kids, just an enjoyable team to coach. These guys love tennis. They're super close. It's been a formula that's worked for this program for a long time, bringing in a big group of first years and making them the core of the future of the program. And so, yeah, it's going to come with its ups and downs during the season, especially with how tough our schedule is in January and February, and how awesome the ACC conference is today. I love that the conference is so strong. And so these guys have learned a lot, they've matured a lot, and they're going through a similar process of what those other two large first year classes went through in 14 and 21.
Yeah, and obviously you mentioned it. Again, it's something you guys have done in the past with your approach to roster construction. What's it like to onboard that many freshmen for you personally? Does it feel like just a complete reset? Like does the message land a little better because there are so many new faces? Like how does that work on your end trying to get this team to acclimate to the culture that you guys have established?
Well, when we recruit, we pay close attention to their character, their families, their values, how they train, their love for the sport, how they compete. So Brian, Trett, and I try to choose guys that already align themselves with our culture prior to get prior to getting here, so that when they're here, school and they're on their own. And it is always a little bit of a dynamic with the team, but it's worked out great for us, and I I wouldn't change it. I think we're going to keep doing it.
No, I again don't break something that doesn't need fixing. Certainly, and given that only a couple of returners on this team, and I think RJ's the only senior on the roster more broadly. But given that fact, one thing anyone who has watched your team here this season, watching James Hopper, who again is technically has played multiple years of college tennis, but only second year in Charlottesville, he, in my opinion, has felt like the beating heart for this group. Like that is the piece you need. We're gonna make the sum greater than the whole of the parts chemistry wise that every college tennis lineup needs. Am I on to something there? Like, is that the role he's been able to play, even though it's only his second year in Charlottesville?
Yeah, he represents everything that's right about this culture, this university. He's just such a hard worker on and off the court. He leaves blood on the court every time he competes. He's so passionate about college tennis, and he just loves being a part of a team. And when I recruited him, word on the street was this is a college tennis guy. Like this is a college tennis. He's the equivalent of like Alex Gruskin, but on the court. You know, he's just he's so excited to come out to practice, to play matches, and he just loves it. And so to have that around your program on a daily basis, it's so good for the team and it's so good for the young guys. And he's been through everything you could ever go through as a college tennis player. So he's been a great leader for our program, a great mentor, and he's super close with the younger guys as well. So yeah, we're gonna miss James, and just so thankful he chose UVA.
No, I like to think I was a James Hopper type back in the day. That's not a bad comparison by you, my friend. I like to think, again, he's if Philip Udzahorn had talent. No, that's a joke. Philippe, I think Philippe would laugh at that if he hears it. And so, no, it's just, I guess on the other side of that coin, did you expect to be asking this much of him in singles? Like, again, talk about the long inning reliever. Like, it just feels like, given some ups and downs injury wise for a lot of the freshmen, like, who I am going to see in the lineup every week is James. Did you expect that to be his role going into the year?
Well, I think it all started. He had a little bit of an awakening in the quarterfinals of the NCAAs last year when he was in a position to even the score set wise when we played Wake Forest in the quarters. And I think that's after that match, he left the court with a little bit of a bad taste in his mouth and just saying, gosh, you know what? Like, I can beat these guys and I can be better than what I've been. And, he had wrist surgery at the beginning of July and worked super hard to get back. And he changed his lifestyle and he transformed his body. And he's arguably the fittest guy in college tennis. And, he's all in. He's all in. And I think that match in the NCAA quarterfinals last year really flipped a switch in his head because he knows he's a great doubles player, but he just said, you know what? Like I can be a great singles player as well for this program. And he worked really hard over 7 months to get there. And he's proven a lot of people wrong. And it's been really, really fun to watch, really fulfilling to watch. And I've talked about James all the time to the guys, and he's just, yeah, I mean, he's all in.
Yeah. No, it's been such an impressive season, and again, you just don't see players go from the Division 3 level to Division 1 and have this sort of success very frequently. So it's a credit to him. I'm sure he's as locked into the case postseason run as he is you guys, and so we'll have to get the updates from him throughout the course of this postseason. But yeah, again, so impressed what he has done, and just more broadly, again, to have this young of a team. I think I ran the numbers. You guys have 7 guys who have played more than 10 dual matches in singles this year. A look at the doubles combinations. Healthy number of groups for you guys this year. I always like a good tinkering. Was that always the intent? Like, did you expect that to be what this season looks like? And ultimately, getting to do that, how valuable is it in postseason play?
Yeah, we've got a lot of depth, and we've got a lot of guys that can help us in singles and doubles. I mean, Virginia doubles is always kind of all over the place when it comes to the the tandems and the doubles teams, and we're always experimenting and trying different things. And that's a part of our doubles philosophy that if you're a good doubles player, you should be able to play with pretty much anyone. And that's what we've done. We've done that for at least as long as I've been the head coach. But it's been great to have a lot of depth, and it's made practices better because you've got more guys pushing each other, and everybody knows that their role matters, and that they're either helping us or hurting us with their words, their actions, and their behaviors, and we've got a group that's really gotten closer over the last 5 months, and they've really understood the culture, and yeah, that type of depth is powerful because if you're a man down, you've still got a force at six, or you've got a great replacement in doubles. So it's definitely been an advantage this year for us.
How set in stone is that lineup, even as we approach the Sweet 16? Like, do you anticipate you may tinker?
As Dylan Dietrich would say, never let them know your next move, coach. So I'm gonna keep that under the rug.
I like
But
that.
uh,
I
but yeah,
think that
you never know. We've got a lot of depth, so we could make changes and we could insert guys, and that's the beauty of having depth.
I'll take that as an answer in itself. You talk about that Virginia doubles tinkering. How frustrated does that make Tret? Like, how many times has he come to you this year and say, "Just write me in at 3. I don't need an ACL. Like, I can still ball." Just well, again, how much has that been something you guys have emphasized in practice? How confident are you in that point?
I mean, it's actually Tret's doubles philosophy that if you can play good doubles, you should be able to acclimate to whoever you play with. So that's actually a Tread Hueyism that we've embraced and it's worked out. I think at the first half of the season, we were having a little more trouble winning doubles points, but that's always the case with us. Like it's always a work in progress when it comes to doubles with us, and um, and I think it's made us better. We've won a lot of matches where we've lost the doubles point, so the harder the path, the better.
Yeah, no, that's half the fun, and obviously this season, dealing with all of the injuries that you have, and one guy who stands out is Roy, who everyone you talk to, it just sounds like Roy Horowitz was made to play some college tennis, and trying to keep him. I don't want to say disciplined, but understanding the big picture of just, hey, like, we can't rush you back. This is a 4-year plan, not a 1-year plan. How has he responded to that? And dare I say, how healthy is he here as we enter this home stretch?
Yeah, he's healthy. He's ready to go. So it's been up and down, and he's handled it great. We wanted him to be ready in early March, but he wasn't, and he's ready now. But again, the harder path is always best, and I keep telling him that God, the universe, the stars, Buddha, Krishna, whatever you believe in is setting you up. And I say this to all the guys, the harder path is setting you up for some really cool experiences down the road. And this is all part of the maturity process for Roy Horowitz. And yeah, it's all about making sure these guys keep maturing. And when they go through adversity like that, it's always good for them. It's painful in the moment, but long term, they're going to look back and say, gosh, that time made me better.
No, absolutely. And in that spirit, again, trying to ask you about all the guys, I think at one point he was 6-11 overall in dual match play. Mons Dahlberg's won his last 9 decisions. And for the junior, just to have things fall into place, said with love, I'm sure part of it is just, well, we moved outdoors and he likes being outdoors. But what has allowed him to find that best level again here at the end of the year?
Monza's always he's like a fine wine. He gets better as time goes on. And he takes really tough classes. He's super dedicated academically. And so I think it takes him maybe a couple months just to get used to his classes and academics and managing both the tennis and the academics. And he's extremely fit and he does a lot of things on his own. And so I think it usually takes him a couple months to understand what his routines are academically, what we ask of him training wise, and also the stuff that he does on his own. And he does a lot on his own. And he usually seems to start playing his best tennis in April and May. So this is pretty much par for the course when it comes to Mons Dahlberg.
Is he lawn bound? Like, are we talking that academically successful? We're going to see him there year 4?
I don't think so. That's really hard to get. I mean,
Yeah.
we've only had one player in the history of our program live on the lawn, and that's Carl Soderlund.
Mhm.
And Carl was like a 3.9 GPA, and he's working at Goldman Sachs now and in London, and he's doing unbelievable. But yeah, he's not on the lawn, but the guy he tries really hard academically.
He's lawn curious. He's in the
Yeah.
conversation. I like it. No, yeah, and Carl's Carl
He
again.
might be able to live on the range. That's the outside of the lawn.
That's good. I like that. No, by the way, like that 21 team had Carl. That 14 team had Damajan, had Frank. I don't want to say there's an absence of that this year because you still do have a Mons who is part of a national championship winning lineup, of course, as well. But have you felt an absence of a senior, like a clear? I mean, we talked about Hopper earlier, so we gave him his flowers. But that clear-cut, 4-year, established Virginia guy, have you felt that absence this year?
Not really. I mean, because I think Dylan spent the whole year with those guys. James spent the whole year with those guys. Ty and Doug, Steph, RJ, like those guys were around those national champions enough. And Mons was a part of the 2023 national championship. And if it wasn't for Mons, we don't win it in 23.
Mhm.
I mean, frankly, bottom line, like if it's not for Mons Dahlberg, we don't win it in 23. So their influence, that national championship mystique and the stories and the tradition, that's that's heard by those guys. That those stories are told by those guys to the younger guys. And you also have myself and Brian who are a part of those teams and Tret Huey as well. And so these guys hear those stories and they know what the standard is here and they know what it takes. So I think we've done a good job of making that part of our culture and telling those stories so that the younger guys can envision it.
Yeah, I think that's really well said. And obviously, in telling those stories, I have to say his name whenever you're on the pod. 2011 Damajan, '08 Sanam Singh, 12 Mitchell Frank. Is 2025 Rafa Hodar the fourth name you put on that list of the best Virginia freshmen of all time? Because to see what he has done this season, again, 14-1 at the top spot, 18-2 overall. I know he's a former junior U.S. Open boys singles champion, but college tennis is different. Like, we have seen others struggle in ways that he just has not this year. Talk me through his season, what it's been like to get to coach someone with that sort of talent.
It's funny. I think it was early March where Chang Jun Kim said to me, he said, Coach, Rafa does everything well. It's not fair, Coach. I mean, and the reason is because the way his dad raised him, he's so disciplined and he's so focused and he knows what he wants. And he obviously wants to be a world-class professional tennis player, but he also knows that there's life after tennis. And so he's got straight A's and he's just really dedicated on all fronts. And, I'm sure every coach that you interview today talks to his players about how they're going to be a reflection on the court of what they are off the court. And and that's what Rafa is. Rafa just checks every single box and he just takes care of business when it comes to his entire life. And when you have somebody like that with his skill level, I mean, he's going to be very accomplished and he's going to go very far.
I'm curious, what have you guys approached as the next step? Because I watch him play. Yeah, it's like he has sneaky long wingspan. Like, those arms are just keep getting longer every time I see it. The technique is so fluid. Like, you see shades of Sinner if you look closely enough. What has been the game plan to help facilitate him taking that next step this year? How do you not overcoach in a moment like this?
Yeah, I think it's pretty. That's a good comparison between his game style and Sinner. Just the same evolution that you see in Sinner is probably the same evolution you're going to see in Vision. His dad, Sinner physically got a lot. Sinner's using his slice more. Sinner's playing better defense. His serve is improved. I think it's a great comparison in terms of how Rafa wants to evolve as a tennis player. So I think you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, well, all right. I'll send him some film. I got some shots that he can add to his arsenal then from some Sinner things we've seen over the years as well. And obviously 22, 23 and 7 is it now? 22 and 7 overall on the year. You guys got to play an ACC schedule that was obviously jam packed here this year. When you add in a Stanford, you add in a Cal, and obviously where they were in the rankings all season long. Your conference did make the decision not to play everyone in the conference throughout the course of conference play. I'm curious, with a year in review, what your thoughts on that, how your thoughts on that decision have changed, if they have at all.
Yeah, I mean, I was one of the coaches that voted not to play everybody because I still wanted to play teams out of the conference. And if we played everybody, we wouldn't have enough room. And I think playing those top teams outside of our conference just really help us and they give us exposure to the best teams so that when we meet them later on in the year, we're familiar with them. But I can't tell you how awesome it is to have such a tough conference. I mean, every single match is a war. We're so battle tested. I mean, we're ready for anything. It's awesome. It's awesome. I hope it stays that way. And I'm cheering for all the other teams. And I just hope they get better and better so that every single match gets just tougher and tougher. Because, if you come to college as a stepping stone to be a professional tennis player, you want all these matches to be tough because there are no matches that are going to be easy on tour. And so that's why we try to create such a challenging schedule. And the ACC's today, this year, has only added to that.
Yeah, no, it's been such a fun conference to follow all season long. It's why I'm very selfishly happy I get to do the play-by-play for it each and every weekend. And, in terms of simulating what an NCAA tournament run is going to look like, conference tournament is about as good of an opportunity as you have because you play so many matches consecutively. And for your guys to get the wins you did, 4-2 over SMU was no walk in the park for your group. Obviously, 4-2 over Cal. To lose the doubles point, but beat Wake as you did, obviously, then what happens in the Stanford match happens. How did you guys just address that in the immediate aftermath, knowing there were a bunch of successes, not where you wanted to end, though? Like, how valuable was that week? What did the 2 weeks look like after it for preparation for this tournament?
Yeah, I mean, we consider the postseason a new season.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's 0-0, and it's you clean the slate, and it's been tradition. It's in our DNA in this program to be at our best at that time of year, and we take pride in that, and we look forward to that, and we talk about that all year. So, it's been the same approach that we've taken, ever since I've been a part of the program, and we just love it. It's more fun, and yeah, I mean, it's the ACC tournament was a great experience for our young guys because we were the fifth seed, so we had to start in the round of 16. We haven't played four matches at the ACC tournament in a long time, so I thought it was great. Our bodies held up really well, and we got through all four matches unscathed. And yeah, I just thought it was a great preparation for this tournament that we're in right now.
No, it's always great when you're top 10 in the country and the number 5 seed in your conference tournament. It means something's going pretty decent for the
Yeah.
ACC here this past season. And again, played a bunch of matches this season. Which match did you learn the most about your group here in 2025?
Um, Geez, I mean, I could point to things from the Duke match, the Cal match, the NC State match. We learned little things from each of those matches. I made it a point. I don't think I've ever given as many speeches to a team as I've given to this team. Um, just because, half the team is new.
Mm-hmm.
And so I need to draw examples from the past, and I think telling those stories which are aligned with what just happened in a match, I think really helps these kids visualize what happened, what it should have looked this certain way. It didn't. We should have done this, but it didn't. And I can revert back to stories of the past where we did things the right way. And it just gives these guys real life examples. I always say that the best coaching is storytelling. And the more stories you have at your disposal, um, you know, the more you're going to connect with your guys. I think most of us are visual learners, and if we can create a story that they can visualize and relate with, I think that's what great coaches do. So, I mean, honestly, all of our losses, I thought we learned a lot from them, and they really helped us. And seven losses is a lot for this program. And so it meant that we needed to learn a lot, and we have. And I mean, the way we come out in our doubles point is a lot better because of those losses, how we are on the sidelines, um, how we compete in between points. There's a lot where we've grown and evolved because of those losses.
Yeah, again, you've seen that in the continued development for this group. I like that. Who's the story of choice now? Is it an Iñaki story? It's got to be an Iñaki story.
I mean, the Iñaki story against, last year's quarterfinal where
Yeah,
he's playing with one leg and the guy
yeah.
finds a way to win at number one singles is just it's a story of how, every match has to be played,
Mhm.
regardless of how you're feeling, what's going on, how well the other guy's playing, the moment, the conditions. Every match has to be played, and you need to go out there and battle. And, I remember telling Iñaki after the first set, walking over to him and be like, all right, you're probably not going to win this match. And he literally kicked me off his bench. And I looked over 15 minutes later and the guy's up 4-1 in the second set and yelling and screaming and going nuts the way he always did. And, it just shows you that, You've got to play the matches, you've got to compete and stay the course. And if you have a special competitor like that, you can pull a rabbit out of a hat.
No doubt about it. Yeah, the after the match, the lawn committee issued a notes app apology saying we missed one. Like that one's on us. Should have had that guy amongst us all season long because yeah, that's one certainly all of us who were there will remember for quite some time. If you could go back in time and reallocate more time in practice for one thing for this group, whether it be on the court, off the court, whatever it may be, what would you pick and why?
Honestly, Alex, I mean, like I said, I mean, I don't know if these coaches have worked harder on a group than with this team. I mean, we've beat the dead horse to a pulp with everything. I mean, something that we talk about all the time is just doing the mental work. And I tell these guys that if they're not willing to do the mental work, then we're not going to talk about tennis. And so first they need to get the mental work done, and that's the body language, the self-talk, the energy, how they're thinking, how they're dealing with getting broken, how they're dealing with losing sets. And that's been a secret weapon of our program. I think we've been a really mentally tough team, and that's because of years and years of emphasizing that mental work. And that's what we spend the most time on. And it's not so much about the tennis, especially in tournaments like these or when you play Grand Slams. It's about how good you are mentally and whether you're your biggest supporter. And so that's what we take pride in.
No, I love to hear that. By the way, gives me some confidence. I'm my biggest supporter. It's a step in the right direction. Like I like if you're not going to root for you, who else will?
Yeah, and hey, look what you've created.
Yeah.
Look what you've created. I mean, it's just phenomenal. Like you've made college tennis more electric and your passion has made this more fun to watch and more entertaining. And I'm sure we have a lot more viewers and a lot more fans and it's because, yeah, you're a mental giant.
Oh, I appreciate you saying that. Those who can't do talk about doing, and that is my lane, to say the least. But no, I mean, again, certainly watching. By the way, speaking of doing the mental work, to have not included 2019 Brandon Nakashima, who was up on Petros in that Wake Forest quarterfinal on the best Virginia freshman list, hand up. Like, I don't want to get the texts from the group chat, so I know I missed them. Everyone, let the record show. Talking about just some big picture things. Obviously, this week I know you're focused on the round of 16, but of course, portal opens up here this week, and I know you just brought in a massive freshman class, and that's typically how you guys had about the roster. But you've brought in a James Hopper. You've had transfer experiences, Graziani and others. How do you view the transfer portal in the context of roster construction?
Yeah, I'm definitely open to transfers. They just need to want to come to Virginia for the right reasons. And number one, it's because of our academics. Two, our culture, our tradition, the type of human beings that we are, the character that our program represents. They've really got to check those boxes. And obviously, they have to be very good tennis players because if I'm going to bring in a transfer, it's going to need to be somebody that's going to impact the lineup right off the bat. But the human being is everything to us, and you've got to be a good human being to be in this program. And so we definitely do our research, our due diligence when it comes to transfers, and we want to know why they're leaving. Um, and we also want to know why they want to come to Virginia, and they need to have the right reasons.
Yeah, no, I mean, I should have put Botzer on that list as well. Big part of a national championship winning team in 2022. And in those conversations, in conversations you're having with prospective freshmen, how quickly does the NIL of it all come up? How is that addressed in every recruiting conversation you have nowadays?
At some point in the conversation, it is addressed. It's the new reality of collegiate athletics, and I don't think it's going away. And so we'll see now that the rules change on July 1st, how it all evolves, whether it becomes more or less. Um, it's just a new reality, and it's something that definitely needs to be discussed. So so yeah, we'll see how it evolves.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to ask every coach about it because certainly I felt like last summer was the Wild West of, all right, that number's not real. Like, let's settle down a little bit. And, more broadly, talking about financial sustainability for the sport, The announcement of the self-funding endowment that you guys announced, what was it, a month ago, and just to be able to have that sort of certainty surrounding your program moving forward. Talk to me about that, the work that went behind the scenes to make it happen, how significant that is for your program moving forward.
It's a huge step for our program to be financially self-sufficient, and it's all thanks to Gene and Terry Lockhart, who have become really close friends of mine. And UVA is all about relationships, and this is a relationship that or to me and a close friend. And we don't just talk about the program, but we talk about life, and he mentors our guys. And they've been generous enough to really lay the foundation for our program to one day be fully endowed when it comes to the operating budget and salaries and recruiting expenses and everything that goes into having a top tier collegiate tennis program, a national championship caliber tennis program. And so fundraising is a reality for most head coaches out there. And but at UVA, fundraising it's been very pleasant because people are just all in here. They love this place. This place is a religion for so many people, and they come back to Charlottesville every year. They get married here. They they retire here, and so they want to invest their hard-earned money in a student athlete experience that they know best prepares these kids for life. And the beginning of this endowment is just a testament to that, and I hope it spreads throughout all of our Olympic sports. And it's vital for the health and the future of Olympic sports and collegiate athletics, because we all know that football and basketball are going to take precedent, and we all need to become more financially self-sufficient.
Yeah, no, it's a serious credit to you all that you're able to put together something like that I'm sure every program would aspire to be a part of. So again, congratulations to you and the program. My last two questions for you. Going to ask you to put on the pundit hat in this situation. And for the record, when asking every coach this question, within the first 5 words is, well, Colton versus Rafa is pretty awesome. Knowing that, if you weren't so focused on your own matchup this weekend, Wake, Texas A&M, Texas, Tennessee, NC State, Columbia, UCLA, USC, Ohio State, Mississippi State, Stanford, South Carolina, TCU, UCF, which is most appealing to you and why?
There's some wars. There's so much parity in college tennis now. I mean, it is there's like there's 40, 50 teams. I
Yeah.
mean, I could even say 60 teams that can win on a given day against anybody. I mean, it's amazing, and it's so awesome, and it just raises the level and attracts more players. Um, Gosh, I mean, I think NC State and Columbia, that's a matchup, right?
Yeah, it's a
That's going to
war.
be a war. And I know TCU and UCF just played recently, but I think TCU was missing a couple guys. But that'll be a war too. I mean, it's is it Southern Cal UCLA?
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a tradition match, like historic match. I mean, that's going to be electric. Um, yeah, no, great matches, great matches.
It's going to be a fantastic weekend. And again, one everyone else is pointing to, your matchup, of course, in Charlottesville. You're taking on Arizona. I mean, again, Colton Smith right now, according to Tennis Abstract's ELO ratings, 45th best player in the world. The idea of him versus Rafa. I pitched on the podcast last night that you guys should actually hold that match, and we only get the right to see that match if it's 3-all overall. Because then it's like, all right, well, everyone wants to watch this anyways. Let's all lock in. But just knowing how good that team has been, it's not just Colton. They've got a bunch of different guys who can go to work. What do you view as their biggest strength? What's it going to take for the Who's to continue to advance?
Yeah, I think they're a really close team. I think they've got great camaraderie. I think Coach Shields has done a great job of building that culture, and they take pride in it. So it's gonna be a battle. We'll be ready, but yeah, it'll be great. It'll be a great test for our guys, and we're excited to play the match. And yeah, all the credit to them. They've had a great season, and they've got a lot to be proud of, and so should be a great match.
No, it's going to be a fun one and a fun weekend for tennis fans in Charlottesville. Of course, both the men's and women's teams hosting super regional matches here this weekend. It's a testament to what you all have built. Of course, Virginia men's tennis head coach Andres Pedroso. Always a pleasure to get the chance to chat with you, my friend. Appreciate you joining, and obviously, good luck to the Who's here this weekend.
Thanks, Alex.